We are going to discuss on inventory management on production 2 today, which is production management 2. And at the end of this study section, we should be able to define inventory, explain reasons for inventory control. You should be able to describe various costs in inventory control management. And number 4 objective, you should be able to explain inventory ordering system. And lastly, you should be able to explain inventory accuracy and cycle counting. We are starting off with definition of inventory. Inventory is an American way of calling stock. So inventory simply means the stock of raw materials that is available or being used in an organization. That is what we basically refer to as inventory. Inventories are the stock of materials, are the resources that are used or kept in the warehouse of an organization. And this stock that are used or kept in the warehouse of a company could take the form of raw materials, work in progress, or finished goods. These are what we refer to as inventory. What are the reasons for inventory control management? Why do we need to control or properly manage the available stock that is in an organization? Number 1 is to prevent unexpected stoppage in production process. When you do not work on your stock of raw materials, when you do not work on the stock of your work in progress, and you allow them to go out of stock, it may affect the production process. So one of the reasons for ensuring the proper management of stock is to make stock available for the continuous production processes. Number 2, to meet discrepancies in the demand for a product. Now, if you are in an organization, you are the supplier of a product. The customers and the consumers, they are the one that demand for product. And you may not know the time where there will be demand surge, where there will be increase in demand. But for proper management of stock, you will be able to meet the unexpected demand of customers, which may go beyond the normal demand of the customers. Number 2, to improve the awareness of an organization. When an organization is able to properly manage the available stock of raw materials, the available stock of work in progress, and the finished goods, it goes a long way to determine the awareness, the proper management of the inflow of funds into the organization. Number 4, it helps to guide against speculations and sudden hike in price. When we are able to manage the available stock of raw materials and have them in stock, if there is scarcity in the market, we will not be affected because there is a proper plan which will guide against unnecessary increase in price. Number 5 is that it prevents labor redundancy. When stocks are not properly managed and the organization ran out of stock, a lot of labor may not be engaged in activities, and it will increase the idleness of labor. Therefore, stock need to be properly managed to ensure that stocks are always available for laborers to work and ensure they are active at all times. Number 6, it allows for continuous production even when there is delay or disruption in one stage or department of production. Number 7, it allows for flexibility in the production schedule, because when stock are properly managed, it will make this stock readily available for every unit that require this stock and ensure the smooth running of the production processes. We move on to types of costs that are available or associated with inventory management. Number 1, we talk about holding cost. This is the cost of holding raw materials in the organization. That is, it is the cost of keeping goods in the warehouse. This cost could include the cost of paying security in the warehouse, the cost of lighting the warehouse, the cost of hiring the warehouse, the cost of maintaining the warehouse. So the cost that is associated of holding raw materials in the warehouse or holding goods in the store is what is referred to as the holding cost. And you have to take note, the more materials that is kept in the warehouse, the higher the holding stock. And that is why you have in the diagram A at this point that the vertical axis is being represented by holding cost, while the horizontal axis is being represented by stock of raw materials that are in the warehouse. So the higher the number of stocks in the warehouse, the higher the holding stock. And the lower the materials in the warehouse, the lower the holding stock. So the holding cost is the cost of holding raw materials in the warehouse, while the holding cost is the cost that is incurred to procure or to purchase a given quantity of a particular product. And there is an inverse relationship between the holding cost and the holding cost and the level of stock available in the organization. And that is why the curve is negatively sloped. Then we still move on to look at types of cost that is associated to inventory. We talk about number 3, which is the setup cost. And this setup cost, these are costs that are incurred at the beginning of the production processes. It is the cost of hiring, registration of the organization, purchases of tools. So those costs that are incurred at the beginning of production processes is what we refer to as the setup cost. Then we talk about shortage cost or stock out cost. When you talk about shortage cost or stock out cost, you are referring to the cost that is incurred when the organization ran out of stock. That is, the organization does not have stock to sell to customer. And that cost that is incurred when you do not have stock to sell to customer, we refer to it as shortage cost or stock out cost. This cost could take the form of loss of profit, loss of customers, and loss of goodwill. We refer to them as the shortage cost. We move on to look at inventory system, inventory fixed order system. And when you talk about inventory fixed order system, you are actually referring to the method, the system, the pattern to which the organization order a stock of materials. When you talk about inventory fixed order system, you are referring to the pattern, the method, and the ways in which the organization adopts in ordering the inventory of the organization in order to achieve the optimal utilization and the optimal distribution of the available stock of that organization. And in this case, there are 3 types of ordering system. Under this context, there are 3 types of ordering system. 1, fixed order quantity system. 2, fixed order interval system. And 3, ABC inventory analysis. Now we take the first one, fixed order quantity system. In the case of fixed order quantity system, this is a system of ordering products where the quantity of product that is ordered remain constant. That is, the quantity of product that is ordered remain constant, and the time for which this product varies. In other words, the organization is free to order at any point in time, but where they need to order, they must order a fixed quantity that has been agreed by that organization. So that is called a fixed order quantity system. What are the advantages of the fixed order quantity system? Number 1, it eliminates the buffer or the shared stock. In other words, it eliminates holding of some stock in the organization because we know the stock that are needed at every given point in time. Number 2, it is easy to ascertain inventory movement and order pattern because the quantity that is ordered remain constant. We may now know the quantity that are coming in with respect to the quantities that are going out. Number 3, it creates room for certainty of inventory. Now let's look at disadvantages of fixed order quantity system. Number 1, ordering costs may be high since the quantities ordered may be too small and frequent. Number 2, it does not allow for flexibility in case there is change in demand pattern. Number 3, quantity ordered are always small. And number 4, it may not be able to take care of emergency. These are some of the disadvantages of the fixed order quantity system. Then we'll try to look at the fixed order interval system. When you talk about the fixed order interval system, this arises where goods are ordered at a fixed interval, but at any quantity. Where goods are ordered at a fixed interval, but at any quantity. In other words, every 3 months, we must order, but the quantity to be ordered is unknown. Then we refer to it as a fixed order interval system, where the period for which the goods will be ordered is known, but the quantity that will be ordered is unknown. Then what are the advantages of fixed order interval system? Number one, it allows for general review of all inventories in a situation where the firm has different items in its inventory. Number two, ordering and shipping costs are less expensive. All purchases are made from the same supplier. Then we'll look at the disadvantages of the fixed order interval system. Safety stock is maintained, which requires that the operating cost will be higher. Then we'll talk about the last aspect of it, which is the ABC inventory analysis. And when you talk about ABC inventory analysis, it's a system of inventory analysis where stocks are categorized into 3. Number one, high naira volume stock, it is called A. Moderate naira volume stock is called B. Low naira volume stock is called C. And when you talk about a low naira, we talk about 3 categories of stock under this context. We talk about 1, high naira volume, which is stock A, moderate naira volume, which is stock B, low naira volume, which is stock C. And the naira volume is measured in terms of importance. So let's now look at the categorization of each of these items. A items are very small in quantities, say 10 to 20% in inventory, but they account for the highest value of naira, which accounts for 70 to 80% of naira. It is called significant few. We talk about item B. Item B are moderately high, between 30% to 40% of the total item in inventory, but it accounts to 50 to 20% of the naira value. Then we talk about item C. Item C are always the highest in quantity in terms of inventory, but they account for the lowest or the smallest value of naira. So these are the categorization of ABC analysis inventory. We now move on to look at inventory accuracy and circle counting. When you look at inventory, we did mention to you that inventory is the level of stock that is available in an organization. And when you talk about accuracy, accuracy simply means being correct. Therefore, what is inventory accuracy? Inventory accuracy is a situation where the number of stock that is counted is equal to the number of stock that is physically available. So when the inventory record tallies with the physical stock, we refer to it as inventory accuracy. In other words, it is contained in our book that we have 200 stock. And when we get to the warehouse to count the physical stock, it is also 200. Then we now say there's inventory accuracy. So inventory accuracy is a situation where the record of stock is equal to the physical stock. So where the physical stock agree with the record stock, we say there's accuracy of inventory. Now, if they do not agree, what happens? We refer to it as discrepancies in the inventory. Where the record stock does not agree with the physical stock, we say there is discrepancies in the inventory. And what could cause discrepancies in the inventory? Number one, legitimate but unauthorized removal of items in the inventory. Meaning that some people may need items and you remove those items to sell to customer, but you did not write them down. You did not obtain proper approval for the proper flow of such item. You could cause disparity in the inventory. Number two, customers ordered may have been cancelled, but it is recorded as removed. At times, customers order for products and we enter those products as if they be taken out, but they are still there. Then the record will not tally with the physical counting. Then this could result to discrepancy between the record of the organization, the record of stock, and the physical counting. Then we'll move on to how accurate records should be kept. How accurate record should be kept. That is, if we need to keep accurate record in our warehouse, if we need to keep accurate record in the store, what are the steps that need to be taken? Number one, storeroom should be permanently kept under lock. Anybody who is managing the stockroom should always ensure that the stockroom is locked so that anybody will not just have access to take some item out of the stock. Number two, there should be effective communication among the organization personnel. Those people that are working in the organization must have effective communication in such a manner that if there's any information which could affect the movement of goods should be made available to all parties that are involved in the management of stock in that organization. Number three, there must be continuous counting of inventory. If you want to ensure accuracy, you must not leave counting for too long. You must ensure there is continuous counting of stock. Then we now move on to look at what is circle counting. And when you talk about circle counting, this is referred to as physical counting of items in the inventory on frequent occasions. So in other words, when you continue to count the physical items available in the warehouse, we refer to it as circle counting. And what is the essence of doing this? Physical counting or circle counting is to ensure the accuracy of the inventory. And the items to be counted should be arranged in a logical manner to allow for easy counting. The items to be counted in the warehouse should be arranged in a logical manner to be easily counted in that particular warehouse. Then we'll move on to the last aspect, behavioral shortcomings in the inventory. In other words, what are the problems that are associated to inventory management in an organization? Number one, irrational decision making. Some of the managers of inventory make some decisions that are irrational, which will affect the movement of stock, the damage to stock, and inaccuracy to stock record. Number two, lack of feedback, which also borders on lack of effective communication among the personnel, among those that are responsible for the management of the stock. Where there's no effective communication and effective feedback among the components of the system that are responsible for the management of stock, it could affect inventory control and management. Inventory policy, where the inventory policies are so weak and unnecessary risks are taken, it could result to high damage of stock, and this will affect inventory control management. Thank you very much. That is the end of the lecture.